Wow. Wow. Takopi's Original Sin, episode 5. I'm speechless. Wow. Where do we even start with this episode? What a roller coaster of emotions. Absolutely breathtaking animation, but at the same time, extremely painful scenes, especially with Marina and her mother, as always. And yes, finding out that Marina was the first loop. And that Takopi's whole plot here was to kill Shizuka, but he failed to do so because he forgot that he was supposed to kill Shizuka. And then it just turns this whole thing about who exactly is the bad guys. As I've stated before, I'll say it again over and over and over again. It's the parents. It all comes down to the parents. But this ending really does have me kind of questioning. I know that I'm doing things backwards, but I want to talk about the ending first, because I do think that it's a little bit jarring how they concluded the episode. And so I'm really hoping the next episode clarifies a lot of stuff really quickly, because what happened? I mean, did Takopi reset again? Did Takopi run away from Shizuka? Why is he back there? It's obvious that he hasn't reset back to the start point again at the beginning of this whole thing with Shizuka. We haven't gone that far back because Naoki knows who he is. Naoki knows what the Takopi is, knows about the octopus. So I'm assuming that we haven't reset all the way. But did he run away from Shizuka? Did Shizuka try to kill him and he ran away and he just left her behind in Tokyo? Does that mean Shizuka's back in Tokyo killing the kids? That's totally what's going to happen. Is he's going to talk to Naoki and he's going to want to stop Shizuka. He's going to go run off to reset things. I don't think he's going to go back to Shizuka, because the question mark is he going to go back to Tokyo and then find Shizuka with blood all over her hands because she killed the kid. Oh my god, that help me find a way to cut open their stomach so we get choppy. Girl is crazy. Even in Marina's whole segment, she's crazy. And again, I think it all stems from bullying. It didn't really specifically say that everything around Marina's loop she bullied Shizuka, but I'm assuming she did. And she was trying to get back at Marina by getting with Naoki. Anyways, let's get into the episode proper, because I'm jumping all over the place. But again, incredibly directed and beautifully portrayed episode. Kicking things off with the opening scene with, yes, Shizuka jumping out of bed, sneaking out, and running off with Takopi to go to Tokyo. Really cool little scenes there. Again, visually looked really fantastic with all the shots and everything. Just some crazy Sakuga. But yes, eventually coming to the doorstep of her father's apartment. And then, yes, I kind of assumed this was going to be the case. I knew the moment that he opened that door, he was going to have kids. And yeah, sure enough. And I think the sad thing about the whole scene right here, obviously, besides the fact that her father is a dirtbag like all the other parents in this damn show, but the fact that one of the kids was very old. One of the kids was not quite Shizuka's age, but pretty darn close, which makes me believe that shortly after Shizuka was born, I'm assuming the father probably cheated on the mom, had a child with somebody else, and then that's what the divorce was all about. But again, one of those kids was pretty close to Shizuka's age, so it had to be very young in her childhood before that happened. Ugh. But yeah, her just like shocked, like, who's these kids? And the kids are just constantly interrupting things, and then eventually she's like, Dad, where's Choppy? It's like this scene in front of her is just completely blowing her away. Like, what is this? Who are these kids? What's going on, Dad? Where's Choppy? And then the dog barks. And she's like, is that Choppy? No, that's not Choppy. Where's Choppy? And again, the fact that the kid finally asks, and this is obviously something that is apparently not even in the minds of the kids. Obviously, I would assume if this guy had this divorce, he moved on with his life with somebody else, he's not going to tell the kids about the fact that they have another sister. There's just probably not even the conversation. I mean, that's the even question if he even has told his wife about the fact that he has a child. But this new life that he has in Tokyo, Shizuka has nothing to do with it. Obviously. Again, that fact that she's like, who's this girl? Why does she keep calling you Dad? Here's the hurting part, and I don't know if this is intentional or not. In the manga, I snooped at the manga for this particular shot here, and it's a full body shot. In the anime, it kind of hits different parts of her body, and it obviously shows the fact that she's dirty. In the anime, it gives me the impression that he's just sitting there examining her, and then he ultimately decides, yeah, don't know who this person is either. Almost like he's disgusted by Shizuka. Ooh, this dirty rat just shows up out of nowhere. I can't present this girl as my daughter. Yeah, I don't know who she is. Gone. I don't think that Shizuka has much of a connection to the father. It seemed like she was excited to see her dad. Ultimately, the only reason that she's there is the dog. She wants to find Chompy. Which, yes, leads us into the following scene where she immediately brings up Takopii. Do you have anything to cut up on those kids' bellies? We gotta save Choppy. It says something effective like, again, this is this twisted logic this kid has. She's so freaking broken. Her twisted mindset is the idea of, okay, where's Choppy? What if the kids ate it? Just like how Takopi eats the cicadas off the ground. Maybe they ate Choppy. I gotta save Choppy. We gotta open up their bellies and find Choppy. It's like, where do you get the idea that the kids ate it from Takopi eating cicadas? But at the same time, what makes you think that you're gonna save Choppy by cutting open the kids' stomachs? It's just, again, this girl's so freaking warped, it's not even funny. Beyond saving. Beyond saving. And again, I think that comes from Takopi's perspective in the previous loop, is the idea that when he's seen those eyes of Shizuka, he sees the eyes of a killer. A kid that has something up there is broken. Shizuka has something that's up there that's broken. And he's seen it when Shizuka was with Naoki in the previous loop, and he's seeing it right here again. Where's those eyes? Where do I recognize those eyes? Again, she's going, okay, well, if you're not going to help me anymore, you don't have a gadget for me anymore, okay. Picks up a rock and just goes to kill him. That's her response. Well, if you're not going to help me, I guess I'll just clonk you out with this rock and kill you. That's her response. And again, he sees something in her eyes. I recognize those eyes as she's looking at him like, I need to squash you out. I no longer need you. I need to squash you out. It's the eyes of a killer. I think he sees the eyes of somebody who is a merciless killer. And again, it brings up here, when I recognize those, it shows the brief shots of like this entire experience with Mina in the previous loop, and then it cuts to eventually her turning around, Shizuka turning around and looking at Takopi, and it's the same shot at the very end of Mina's loop. The same eyes, the ones that enchanted Naoki, and then look back at Takopi. It's like danger. He told Mina, I went to go get Naoki, but he was with somebody whose eyes scared me. Again, this is a Shizuka that doesn't even know who Takopi is, was bullied by Mina in the past, presumably, comes back and now has Naoki, and those eyes scared him. Which, yes, ends in Shizuka trying to kill him. And again, I'm presuming he didn't hit Takopi because I'm guessing at the very end is Takopi flying back home. Like he dodged it, ran away, or maybe got clomped and was able to recover. Maybe they don't die as easy as humans do by a blown object to the head. Again, he reacted very oddly to Mina's death. Like, did I hurt you too much? Are you hurting too much? And then what's happening? But anyways, in this little moment of recalling Shizuka's eyes, he recalls this entire loop that he spent time with Mina, which presumably, as it lays out, this was the first time that Takopi arrived there. Upon leaving Happy Planet, he came down there to Earth, and the first person he met was Mina. It was in the future. It wasn't in 4th grade. It was a later time period when she returned back after being away for a while. You know, she was there at elementary school. She left for a while, and then she came back. And yeah, Mina stumbles upon Takopi. This is the first meet of a human for Takopi. And yeah, Mina has a massive gash on her face. And everybody is like distancing themselves from her. She's not very accepted by people. They all think that she's just kind of a bad person, you know, dangerous and whatnot. And so she doesn't have any friends. Kind of painting an almost similar situation as Shizuka, but just not bullied. It gave no impression that she's being bullied. She's just a hurt child. Again, with everything that's happening with her mother. Her mother has permanently scarred her face, and thus everybody avoids her. But yeah, now that Takopi's with her, she goes back home, and we get the similar scene that we always seen. It definitely does look like Mina's mother is in just a much worse state. It seems like her cognitive decline, like her psychological decline is just getting worse and worse. She's talking about the fact that you know, did you take your pills? Yeah, you get side effects of nightmares because of it. She's trying to get her drink for her. The entire time the mom's just saying, did you order it? Did you order it? Did you order it? Until eventually she just comes up there and straight almost jabs her in the eye with the bottle that's broken. No hesitation at all. Just sees Mina as a threat. You failed to get something that I told you to get. I ran out of this stuff and thus you're after me. And immediately turning into this whole victimhood thing. Oh, it's because I'm not worth it. You're buying me the cheap stuff. Oh, it's all your fault. Oh, you're blaming me again. This is why you can't have a boyfriend because you don't clean up the house. You don't do anything. Like just immediately berating her. No doubt in my mind, this mom has lost it. She is mentally lost it. And that's the scary thing is because when I seen this whole scene, it hurt for me personally, having had experience with people that have lost their mind. Like this is an element that is very, very... something I relate to a lot with Mina's character. That would be Mina's whole thing the moment she opens that door. What's it going to be today? What are we going to go through today? Is she going to be mad? Is she going to be crazy? Is she going to be upbeat? Is she going to be accepting of me? Is she going to be talking about father? Are we going to have a debate about that again? What is it going to be today? But immediately she tries to navigate it. And this is something I'm very familiar with. You navigate the room. You're trying to push the discussion a certain way. The upbeat nature of her and going, what are we going to get you today? What do you want to eat today? That's really trying to direct the flow of the conversation. We're going this direction. She's trying to push in that direction, but the mother doesn't go that direction. No, you forgot this thing. You're after me. And it sucks because that is that element of somebody that should be your loved one, somebody that you should be able to hug and say, I love you, now literally threatening to kill you. And you just have no idea how to really de-escalate it. There's no guidebook. There's no checklist or something that you could do to stop the situation. You literally have no clue what's going to happen. And again, the moment she sees that bottle, I think everything breaks in Mina, because as we find out in the scene afterwards, after Takopi's like, oh, this is a chippery conversation. Takopi's legit doing the same thing that we've done before of this like horrible conversation. And it's like, oh, that sounds joyful. But no, that whole following scene when she's in the bedroom, scratching at the scar. Oh, gosh, dude. Scratching at the scar. And talking about, yes, the first moment that the bottle broke and she gashed her face. It all kind of went downhill from there. And again, completely ruined Mina's life. Ugh, it sucks. Everything around Mina just breaks my heart. Now, the following scene was interesting. The following scene was very interesting because it immediately jumps to Mina trying to find a fix. I really do feel it's like Mina's trying to find a fix. She's talking to Takopi about the idea that she wants to have a child someday. She wants to be a mommy. And then she's going to make sure that baby is super happy. And that's going to make mommy happy. It feels like Mina feels the way to fix her relationship with her mother is if she shows that she's dependable and that she has a boyfriend. That's technically what her mother brought up. This is why you can't find a boy. And it's all about that scar. And I think a lot of what is tormenting her mom is the fact that that scar reminds her of a mistake that she made. Again, not saying that's a mistake that she's, poor her, but it's an aspect that mentally her mom sees that as a mistake. And thus, every time she sees her daughter's face, she's getting angry and trying to cover up essentially that embarrassment that she has for herself. So I think what Mina is trying to do is she's trying to hopefully find a boy, have a child, and then mom will stop being upset about the scar and we'll all be happy. And sure enough, we do find out later on, it completely fixes the mom. The moment she comes up with a boy and says that I have this guy that I like, mom just clicks. It fixes for her. Everything fixes for her. But now the gut punch here is that she said that she wants to be a mom and that her child's going to be super happy. And Takopi's like, oh, so you've just been copying your mom then? What do you mean by that? Being rough with me. You're copying your mom, right? That was a shock moment. That face on Mina was a shock moment of, oh, that's right. I have been treating Takopi like really rough. That's one of those things I think that subconsciously just doesn't really click sometimes. It's that whole idea of, unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the child that is abused by the parents will often abuse their children. Even though in some cases they say that they'll never do that to their child, and they end up doing it anyways. Kind of just that generational passing on of that. But anyways, I thought it was like a nice little gut punch. But yeah, they end up bumping into Naoki. Bump into Naoki, and they hit it off. Again, mom is super happy about the whole thing. Is just a night and day. Night and day, super happy about it. Your dad's going to be back soon. We can all have a dinner together. Mina's like, yeah, that ain't going to happen because she got a message from dad saying that he wants to move on. Yeah, Naoki is going to inherit the clinic, so that's great. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to mom about that. Yeah, she's super happy going to school, talking to Takopi, talking about how she wants to make pancakes for Naoki, because apparently Naoki likes pancakes, so I'm going to make him some pancakes. And the fact that he doesn't mind the scar on my face, she's just super happy and thankful to Takopi for fixing all that. Until transfer student returns to the area after being gone for a long time. Apparently she had a rough time back then. Apparently tried to take her own life and the rope broke, so thankfully she lived through it. But yeah, she's very pretty too. And sure enough, Mina taps her hand against Naoki's, but then Naoki pulls it away because he spots Shizuka. The moment he turned and looked at her and the hearts were in the eyes, I'm like, here we go. We have Mina in the past and she's super happy. I was waiting for that other shoe to drop. I was waiting for what was going to essentially be the fall point for this whole thing. And is the fact that Naoki, upon seeing Shizuka, immediately dumps Mina. And then everything goes south for Mina. Now, here's a rough thing. Because yes, we have the whole scene where Naoki's going, she's all I have and I'm all she has. I have to leave you. Dirtbag Naoki. Which all leads me to want to just, I think the end result's going to be just get rid of Naoki. Yeah, just, I gotta ditch you because Shizuka, I liked her back then, and I'm all she has, so I gotta ditch you. What a dick. Naoki's your dick. I liked Naoki last episode, but now I don't like Naoki anymore. I don't like him at all no more. Not that he has to force himself to be in a relationship with Mina. If he likes Shizuka, there's no reason for him to stay with Mina, but it's still screwed up. Really, it's still screwed up. But no, the scene with the mom. Oof. Absolute oof. She's got an entire spread of food ready for that boy to come over and visit. She's cooked a crap ton of stuff. Sorry, Mom, he's not going to make it. Oh, that's okay. Let's schedule something. Sorry, Mom. It's not going to happen. And she absolutely loses it. And this sucks, too, because there's this aspect where it's like Mina's mom sort of gets this hope that her child is fixed. Again, I think it's that guilt around the scar. I think the mom has a guilt of the scar. She's embarrassed of herself, and she's embarrassed of herself, and thus she's hoping that Marina will find success. That way she can stop being embarrassed for what she did. But here she's saying, nope, it's not working out. And she just loses it. But not only that, you're messing with me. You're messing with me. No, he had somebody else that he liked. And that turns into Marina's mom sort of shifting the blame onto Marina. That Marina is mocking her. Oh, you're saying that because dad left me. Because your dad left me, you're saying that your boyfriend left you. You're mocking me. It goes down this whole spiral of different like excuses and anger that she's going through. It gets back in the whole thing that you're blaming me about your scar, that everything's my fault. I thought you were on my side. It's going down the list of every single excuse and anger that the mother's had. Do you favor your father? I thought you were on my side. The scar again. All that crap just kind of brings up again. And she literally just attacks her daughter all the way to the point of going to take her life. Again, this is something that I don't wish upon anybody. The idea of, just the fact of having an abusive family member, an abusive mother, parent especially. But additionally, the idea of just having somebody that you are around that is not mentally right. They're not the person that you grew up with. They're not the mom you always knew. They're not the parent you always knew. They're not the family member you always knew. And any moment, you don't know why they just suddenly just outburst at you. Suddenly they're just angry and they outburst. And you don't know how to de-escalate it. You didn't logically come to that conclusion. Nothing logically built to that point. So thus you don't know how to navigate it. How do you navigate a situation you don't know how you got there? Somebody you can't communicate to. That's the sad reality. Something I've experienced, and it's just so painful watching Mina go through it. A child. These parents, all these parents, get these kids away from these parents. But yeah, mom goes to stab her, and cut over to Takopi, and he's checking out Shizuka and Naoki. Doesn't know who Shizuka is yet, by the way. Just sees Naoki with somebody. Doesn't know who the person is. And Naoki's just like, oh yeah, I like you. You're super adorable. And I never fall through with anything. I feel bad for Marina because I don't fall through anything. I'm not like my brother. Oh, it's somebody else's fault. Again, projecting on somebody else. So much of that in this episode. But then yeah, Shizuka going, don't worry. I'll accept you for whatever you are. You don't have to compare yourself to other people. I wonder. I think Shizuka in this loop was getting with Naoki to get back at Marina. I really do think so. Because just a look on her face. And again, her looking back to Takopi. Something that scared Takopi. I think Shizuka was manipulating Naoki right here because he's getting back at Marina. I'll steal him. I'll steal him from her. Yeah, do that. Super crazy. Super crazy. And again, I'm assuming that in this loop, Marina abused Shizuka. Because again, as it wraps up, Takopi goes back to the house, says, sorry I couldn't bring Naoki. Yeah, there was somebody there. She was scary. But Mina is apologizing to mom, said, I wish that I had killed her back then. If only I had killed Shizuka back then, this would never have happened. This thing with dad would never happen. Naoki would have been with me, all this stuff. She's blaming everything on the fact that she didn't kill Shizuka back then, which implies the idea that, again, that they were in a conflict back then. So my assumption is that the whole situation that Shizuka was in with Marina when Takopi first showed up, that happened in this loop. And it probably progressed to the point where Marina killed Shizuka's dog, Choppy, and Shizuka tried to take her own life. It failed, and they've probably never seen each other ever since then, until the day that Marina is walking with Naoki, and Shizuka sees them. And again, I think that she goes and steals away Naoki. But yeah, she sees Takopi and says, if I knew this was all going to happen, I would have given you a name. I'm not sure what that whole thing means there, but either way, she kind of regrets not giving him a name. And he says, don't worry, I got you. I'll go kill Shizuka. I'll make everything happy, right? That'll make you happy. I'll go to the big happy clock. Jumps in his spaceship and just takes off. Marina, unfortunately, just takes the bottle to her neck right afterwards. But then we get to see Planet Happy. He shows up at Planet Happy, goes in there. Now, here's the interesting thing. He immediately goes to Mom and tells Mom, I need to go back to this 4th grade and kill Shizuka. We find out later that, yeah, Mom doesn't know what kill means. Again, it kind of seemed like for Takopi, he was learning the term kill as well when they took out Mina. But no, here's the interesting thing. Because the mother responds saying, if that's the conclusion you've reached, okay, that's fine. We'll do that. We'll erase your memories and return you to a happy state of a newborn. You came here by yourself, broke the most important rule of Planet Happy. You will be banished from the planet. That's why you must be reborn. Forget everything. Just gonna erase everything from his mind. He stops it and says, no, can't let that happen. Smacks Mom's hand. She's like, whoa, what's going on, kid? Jumps in the spaceship, you'll never understand, jumps in the spaceship and takes off. And again, she questions the idea of, what is this kill? Why did you hit me so hard? Why can't we communicate? Why can't we talk? It's just kind of weird for her to say that because she's banishing him. How do you communicate with somebody that you were planning on banishing? But no, the interesting thing in this conversation here is the fact that, yes, he comes there and uses the clock, which I assume is going to eventually happen, but not in Marina's whole loop. But the interesting thing that she says here is that you broke the rules. You broke the rules. You broke the most important rule of Planet Happy. In Marina's loop, what has Takopi done that would have been a sin or a rule broke? Yes, when Takopi was trying to help Shizuka in the first episode, they established some idea of him breaking a rule and the idea of letting Shizuka have the toy or the gadget. But we never seen Takopi give Mina a gadget ever in this entire loop. She never used any of the gadgets. She completely went solo, never used anything that he gave her. It makes me believe that the most important rule that Takopi broke was coming back without somebody. What sticks out to me is she says, you came by yourself. You came back by yourself. What? That makes me believe that there's 2 things that could have happened here. Either one, Takopi left Happy Planet with somebody and didn't return with them, which I doubt that because it never references another alien. Or one of the rules for these individuals going out and spreading happiness is that they're supposed to bring somebody back. And I'm wondering if that will be Takopi's original sin. Because, again, this took place before the whole loop with Shizuka, which I assume what was going to be that whole situation there was going to be, well, my old thought process about what the original sin was going to be was giving the ribbon to Shizuka and Shizuka, using it on herself. But I think what the original sin is going to be is what the mother's talking about here. That you broke the most important rule of Planet Happy. You didn't bring somebody back. And I think that's going to be probably the twist at the very end, which does lead me into what my theory is for the ending is going to be, which I'll get into at the very end. Let's not get into that yet. Let's not get into that yet. Sorry, let's not get into that yet. Just put a pin in that one. Anyways, he returns back, says that he wants to kill, but his memories are all like being erased at the time. As he's returning back to the planet, everything's disappearing, forgetting about Mina and everything, forgetting her name. Says it's okay, I'll still remember, I'll be able to remember. And then eventually when he finally gets there, wait, who was it that wanted to be happy? Who was it that I wanted to be smiling? And it kind of jumbles back and forth between Mina and Shizuka, and eventually gets to this point where he goes, oh yeah, that's right, I need to kill Shizuka. Everything that's painful for Mina is caused by Shizuka. Losing the parents, losing everything, losing Naoki, it's because of Shizuka. But this is where everything gets mixed up. What I'm gathering right here is at this moment, when he's remembering that he needs to kill Shizuka, it's not when he was returning back from Planet Happy after resetting with Mina's situation. I think it's him returning back to home after Shizuka nearly tried to kill him at the beginning of this episode. So as he's returning back to the park, he's remembering, who do I kill? Who's supposed to be happy? Oh, that's right, I'm supposed to kill Shizuka. Because it quickly shifts and says, but wait, Shizuka did that for me. So obviously we're in the current time. So he's in a big mix-up right now. But he feels like he needs to kill Shizuka, but Shizuka's nice as well. And also recalling the horrible things that Marina did to Shizuka. I think this is one of those interesting ways that I think the writer is trying to examine sort of... The villain is in the eye of the beholder. It all depends on what direction you look at things. Because this goes into like a deeper thought process that I have for what I think this writer was doing with this story. Because I think it is one of those ones where you get those assumed perspectives of who's the villain. Oh, obviously Marina. She's a horrible person. She did some god-awful things to Shizuka. But then you see why Marina is the way she is. What's going on with her parents and all that kind of situation. Doesn't make it right, like I always say. But you obviously get a little bit of, if you have a little bit of empathy there, you acknowledge the fact that this girl is going through hell too. And again, it all stems down to just extremely abhorrent parents. All these kids are casualties of horrible parents. You see that face value of what a person is until you get the deeper story. I honestly feel like Mina's character is the most developed character of this entire story. There's just so much time spent on her family, what makes her into what she is. But I think ultimately what we're experiencing here with the storytelling in episode 5 specifically is finally seeing that idea of Takopi acknowledging that I assumed that Shizuka was the bad guy. I went and reset everything, but then I accidentally seen Shizuka's side of the story. Because from Takopi's perspective, all he's seen was this girl shows up out of nowhere, steals Naoki away from Mina, caused Mina pain, and now I have to kill her. But then what happens? Oops, reset. I forget who Mina is. Shizuka, I need to save Shizuka. And eventually coming to the point where, well, I was supposed to kill her. She was supposed to be the bad guy. It's a reverse. Takopi is getting a reverse effect of what we had at the beginning. We, as a viewer, see Mina as the bad guy initially. Whereas Takopi, when they first arrived at the planet, they seen Shizuka as the enemy. It's an interesting way of looking at things. Now, that leads me into my thoughts processes where this is going to end, because we obviously have one more episode, tragically, because my gosh, this is literally anime of the year already. With the ending, what I can sort of see happening here is because Takopi finally comes back there, and again, my assumption here is that he escaped Shizuka. We're still at the current time of the original timeline, and Marina is unfortunately still dead at this point. Takopi is confronted by Naoki. And this would be Naoki, presumably, after he confessed to the police officers and he's just walking down the street, he eventually bumps into Takopi. Because again, it seems like he is familiar with Takopi. And in Marina's loop, he was not familiar with Takopi. And if Takopi had reset again, he wouldn't know who Takopi is. Going back to what Takopi's mother said earlier, you came by yourself. You broke the most important rule of Planet Happy. I think ultimately the conclusion of the story is the discovery that Takopi, as a Planet Happy member, you're not supposed to just spread happiness, but one of the rules is that you're supposed to bring somebody back. And I think that it kind of is confirmed a little bit, because I think at some point, I think in episode 1, maybe episode 2, probably episode 1, Takopi offered to Shizuka to take her back to Planet Happy. So I think there is a thing here where that is one of the policies they're supposed to do. And he probably just didn't know the full extent of that, because again, he lost a lot of his memories when he met Shizuka. So he doesn't know the full extent of that whole thing. But I think one of the rules for them is to bring somebody back. And because he returned back to the planet without Mina or somebody else in that first loop, he was punished. So what I think is going to be the ultimate conclusion of the story is, how do you make everybody happy in the end? Yeah, I think this could end up being a very sad ending in the idea that we just accept the current timeline, Mina's dead, and Takopi has to fix Shizuka somehow. It would probably through Takopi talking to Naoki and deciding to essentially get Shizuka blamed for Marina's death. Just coming out there and saying that she's crazy, throw her in jail. The other way I see this going is possibly Takopi somehow manages to get the camera to work again, and it will jump back to that point that he took a picture with Shizuka, at which point Takopi will eliminate the one thing causing the most grief later on. Because yes, while Shizuka is in a very terrible state in that first loop with Mina, she's living. She's okay. She's hurt, but she's moving on. Mina, yes, scarred by her mother, still moving on. Naoki breaks everything. Naoki coming back in the picture does make Mina happy, but it causes catastrophe again. Which leads me to my prediction that the ending is going to be. Again, is Takopi realizing that, oh yes, one of the rules is that we're supposed to take somebody back to Planet Happy. And he's going to end up taking Naoki back to Planet Happy. Or my twisted, dark, really, really dark ending idea is that he just straight kills Naoki. I think right now with Naoki coming to that park, for some reason in my mind, it's painting Naoki as being the catalyst for the downfall of either Shizuka or Marina. I don't know. That's what's great about this show overall, is that I can think of probably at least 20 really good endings that this could end up taking in a direction of. Every single one of them is sort of either a playoff of each of the individuals having a growth while another falls, or some way of trying to twist a happy ending in the end. My wanted ending, my most happy ending, is literally all of these parents get thrown in jail. And these kids get put in foster homes, and they're happy separate. Each one of them gets put in foster homes on the opposite sides of Japan, and the parents go to jail. All the parents go to jail. That's the biggest, happiest ending, because all these parents, Shizuka's father, Shizuka's mother, Marina's father, Naoki's mother. Again, I have my theories on that, but I still think she's probably also equally nasty. These parents are nasty. But anyways, I think that's everything. My gosh, this is a long recording, and I kind of expected it to be, because, geez, this episode was, again, with situations like the mother, with Marina's mother, is very personal for me, because I've had experience with people that have, they're psychologically not who you've grown up with. They've changed, and trying to navigate their psyche is just, in a lot of cases, impossible, and you never know what's going to happen next. At the same time, Marina's pain with the glass and all that kind of stuff, the scar, picking at the scar, Takopi, the reset, all that stuff. And again, Shizuka being presumably the darkest character of the whole story. Like, it's literally turning into that. And I think I kind of seen that when she was manipulating Naoki. When she first manipulated Naoki, I'm like, this is going to be one of those stories where in the end, Shizuka is like the biggest manipulator out of all of them. And it's looking like it's going to go that direction. It looks like it's going to go that direction. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment, let me know about the episode. Additionally, if you're new here and you like this content, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back next week for the finale for sure. But, and again, it's kind of shaping up to be anime of the year. But yeah, if you want to support this content, become a member of the channel. But until next time, y'all take care.